Needs more space. What's going on, bro? Oh, what you good? All right. We're actually going to start on time. So that right there is a good sign of having a good business. Starting on time. All right. All right. So what we're going to do, we're actually going to first open with prayer. You can just, stay where you're at. Mr. James Hoyer is going to lead us in prayer real quick.
All right, everybody, please. Father God, we thank you for this day. We thank you for getting us through this day. Pray, Lord, that you give us clear minds and open hearts, Lord, and make it receptive to the material presented. Let us receive it in the spirit in which it's intended, Father God. I pray that you bless every business in this room. In the name of Jesus, we pray. Amen.
Amen. All right. All right. So we're really excited to bring this to you guys. This is the revamping of our business ministry. I'm Ronnie Battle. I'm the director of the business ministry, James Hall, myself, with T and Mika Williams, Jesse Kearney. What is he? The third, the fourth? Okay, the fourth. And Carl Humphrey, who's actually teaching him. He's teaching another one, right? Okay, so right now that is the business ministry. And the reason behind this is because right here it's all about. It should be really all about us. The way I had the vision, that's like, look, there's no reason why New Mercy should have their own Angie's List. Everybody in here is servicing, something that is a need of something, and so instead of us, and we got people in the congregation that do plumbing, that do mechanics, that do landscaping, and these are essential items that we're going to have to actually go out and go get. There's no reason why we can't go to our own, so that was really one of the biggest reasons and visions behind the business ministry, but also the business ministry was also conducive to, the ongoing learning of business, because every business does something different. And you could be, if you have your own business, you may be at different levels in your business, to where, what better way to actually learn from someone who's either been through it, gone through it, or in it with you, so we actually felt that this right here would be a conducive for us to actually bring those subject matter experts into the Mercies to actually pretty much bring that knowledge of the history or even the experience of what they may have to share with others. And then also too, we wanted to look at it from a standpoint of like having a master's class. So we may have individuals who are, in the insurance industry. You may be interested in getting in the insurance industry. Well, now we have individuals that are trusted vessels in the ministry that are actually doing it, who's successful, that's going to bring you that knowledge right here, right there in front of you. So you basically, again, this is a one-stop shop. Kind of look at us as like the super Walmart of business. We wanted really to be a one-stop shop. So that's kind of like, the intro of what we were looking to do and what we're looking to accomplish. But I will start off with a scripture, because again, this is one of the things that, again, God blesses everything from businesses. But, it says, happy is the man who finds wisdom and the man who gains understanding. That's Proverbs 3:13. I'll say it again. Happy is the man who finds wisdom and the man who gains understanding. So basically, you should be constantly seeking how to improve and increase the knowledge about not only your business, but how to run the business. You're constantly looking at the individuals. Now, we're going to be participating, you know what I mean? So y'all ain't just listen to me talk. So if you don't like to talk and you put your head down, I'm going to go call on you first. I'm letting you know. So again, because again, like I said, I think the best way of teaching is learning from each other. You know what I mean? So again, I'm going to be pretty much more the quarterback, but you guys are going to be pretty much the class, from that standpoint. So with that being said, take out your pen and paper because we're getting ready to learn. There are going to be 4 questions. Sorry, you good? Ain't nobody know you was late until you just said something. 4 questions that you should ask yourself before you do any business. Question number 1, write it down. Why am I doing this? I asked somebody why were they looking to do a business? They told me because they seen it on TikTok. You know what I mean? So literally, that was the reason why I put this number one. Because they said they seen it on TikTok. No experience, anything like that. So again, why am I doing this? Why am I looking to start a business? Number two, has God given you guidance for this decision? Has God given you guidance for this decision? You can say you're gonna do a business, but did you say that before you got talk to God first? You know, keep in mind this is business ministry, so we're gonna bring it back to the word. Number three, what is your motivation? Is it money? Is it legacy? Is it career change? You know, and again, I'm not saying that any of those things are wrong, but we're going to talk about it. Number four, what is the end goal? Every business is not really to start and then go forever. You know what I mean? And a lot of times, sometimes we stay in the business way too long. So again, what is the end goal? And you got to understand not only what that end goal is, but what that looks like, and you got to visualize that amongst yourself. So these are things that what you should probably be, these are the questions that you need to actually answer yourself, and that right there actually help you from that standpoint. But basically, like I said, starting a business is probably one of the most rewarding yet challenging things you'll ever do. I promise you, if you got a business right now, you know what I'm talking about. It could be overwhelming, especially if this is one of the first things you actually done, But, it also is something that, again, it can actually give you so much more joy because, again, it's sometimes your business should be an extension of you. You know what I mean? You shouldn't be doing this business just because, it's a fad, or you shouldn't be doing the business just because this is the newest thing in. Fads fade, new things stop, but not you in this business. So again, you should be able to do it. The reason someone told me years ago, he said, Battle, you need to be, when you do business, you want to be in a business that you want to have it so hard to where, I want it so bad to where it's almost like I'm taking my own breath. That's how bad I want it. You know what I mean? So, all right, so take the pen out. The very first thing when you're starting a business, the very first thing before you come up with a logo, before you come up with a name, a color scheme, a website, before you come up with anything, this is the very first thing you need to do before you start a business, and that's coming up with the USP. Anybody know what that is? USP. You must have the USP. Anyone know? Everybody here know what it is. I'm gonna tell you what it stands for. It stands for unique selling proposition. Unique selling proposition. Unique selling proposition. Before you do anything, you must have your unique selling proposition. Now, I'm going to show you what layman terms what the unique selling proposition is. McDonald's versus Burger King.
Really?
Hey, I saw you making these. You helped me. You helped me. So look, off the top of my head, I said it. So McDonald's versus Burger King. They both sell burgers, fries, and shakes, correct? But it's something uniquely different between the Whopper and the Big Mac. Let me help you with another one. Okay, we got a participation back there. Let me help you out with another one. KFC versus Popeyes. 11 herbs and spices versus Cajun, but still chicken. Let me help you with another one. Better pizza, better ingredients. Papa John. Pizza in minutes. Little Caesar, but still pizza. You follow me? So the thing about it is that literally what you have to do is you must identify that unique selling proposition, that thing that actually separates you from the next one. Because again, if you're selling shoes and he's selling shoes, why should I get your shoes? What's unique about it? With your shoes, guess what? You're actually bringing the shoes to me. That's something unique. You know what I mean? His shoes may be special ordered and special design. That's something unique. But it's still selling shoes. It's just all about who the consumers are. And your unique selling proposition would actually help you understand who are the people that you're going to be actually going after. You got to know who you're going after. We can't be trying to sell Whoppers to McDonald's. You know what I mean? We got to understand that, just because you like shakes, they don't either. You got to understand who's your market and who are the ones you're going after. So what's the number one thing? Anybody? What's the number one thing you need to have? There you go. I told you guys, look, now I'm calling everybody now. Y'all better work with me now. All right. After that, what you want to do, number one, or let's just say the next thing you want to do after that is you want to develop yourself a business plan. And basically, what I would call that is basically more of an idea. Because the idea is going to lead you to the plan. So, as a matter of fact, don't put the business plan, put your business idea. You know, what is the idea? You know, because a lot of us got an idea. You know what I mean? And again, we think our idea was the best idea, you know, but you got to understand, you got to be able to put substance behind the idea. Give you an example. I think cab started in 1920. So you mean to tell me cab started, I think, in the 1900s, you know what I mean? Cabs, you know, and I want to say Uber's what now, hit 10 years old?
Yep.
So you mean to tell me from 1920 to 10 years ago, no one thought about Uber? No, a lot of people did. Because guess what? Do you know the first name of Uber was? It wasn't Uber. It was called Color Car. And several folks didn't like the name, so they opted out to do Color Car. But there's only one person that still kept the idea. Now he's worth $4 billion and he's 41 years old. You know what I mean? Stick with your idea, because obviously you got the idea for a reason. You know, go put it back to your question. Why am I here? Did God give me the guidance? A lot of times God will give you the guidance, he'll give you the idea. In the same token, if he gives you the vision, he's gonna give you the provision. If this is truly coming from God. You know what I mean? But again, like I said, don't be stubborn to say, okay, but God told me, you know, God didn't tell you. No, God told you to get into business, but he didn't tell you to open the business. You feel what I mean? You might have subject matter expertise of the person who actually has a business, and you can lend your services to that person, and both of you guys take it to the next level. So you got to be willing to understand where your position is in the business. But you know, everybody want to have their own. You know what I mean? And I can tell you right now, any business owners that's in here know it ain't always roses. It ain't always pieces of cream. You know what I mean? So again, you want to actually develop that business idea. I mean, what that's going to do, that's going to be based on the skills and the experience and the passion, you know, because again, that's the idea that comes in it. Basically, do that business that you're skilled, experienced, and you got a passion for it. Because when those times get hard, your skills, your experience, and your passion is going to get you across those hard times. You follow me? So again, you want to make sure you have that business idea. Now, once you establish what that business idea is, now you want to go to the next thing. That is the business plan, you know? And basically what that is, that's the roadmap. I like to call it the breadcrumbs. You remember Hansel and Gretel? You know, they went in the forest, you know, these are the breadcrumbs. We're going to go far, but at least if we don't know where we lose our way, at least we have the breadcrumbs to bring us back. So again, that business plan is really going to be, well, you know what, before you make $1, before somebody get in your head and say, girl, you good chicken, you need to do this right here. No, here's the thing. You already have the plan. Before anything else could taint it, this is the plan. And understand the state of mind you were in when you created the plan. You follow me? Because the plan wasn't untainted. You got to understand, you know, everybody who say they with you ain't for you. You know what I mean? And when you tell them to plan, guess what? You done told them how to plan. Mm-hmm. You know, everybody who pray, there's several folks that pray, but then they also pray. That's P-R-A-Y, and that's P-R-E-Y. Keep the idea to yourself. The only one you want to talk to is him. You know what I mean? Maybe mama. You know what I mean? But I'm just letting you guys know. I'm just letting you guys know. I call it, you guys have probably heard the term venture capitalists. I call them vulture capitalists because they got the money, they got the time, but guess what? They waiting to capitalize on your idea. Yeah. You ever heard it that way? There you go, and they're ready to take it. They're ready to take your idea. They're literally waiting on your opportunity to take your idea. And how many times we like, man, that was my idea. No, it wasn't. You know what? Because they capitalize on your idea. So literally, with your plan, you want to make sure that this is your plan. And with that plan, you want to make sure that you're developing not only that, but with your plan, who are my target audiences? Who am I going after? Who am I actually selling this to? Who do I want to buy my products? And if everybody that you are targeting look like you ain't gonna be business long. Everybody in this room look like me. We done been there for a long time. You know how we are. So if your target, go ahead. No, if your target audience is only for one demographic, that's not, I would say this, that right there is not conducive for sustainability for the mere reason that what happens when it shifts and everything that you do is for one particular group.
So it's for say just African Americans, you're saying is.
No. What I would say is that your target audience, your primary audience could be African Americans, but you can't leave everybody else out.
Oh, okay.
You follow me? So I'm glad you asked that question. Let me be sustained. This is for this. New Mercy is for everybody, but it ain't for everybody. You follow me? We're gonna accept everybody.
It also depends on the product too.
Okay.
If you're doing like black hair care products.
I was going to say, because the Koreans are eating us alive, they're taking our culture and cashed it.
I mean, but you know, but here's the thing though, that's where you're going into this, you're going into our series.
Yeah.
1-on-1.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You 3.0.
I
You
knew
get
The message, because the Koreans have taken our black hair care products and many of us shop with them. So they didn't just focus on people just like us.
No, they did. They did. And then the thing about it is, if everybody in here, if he has a hair care spot and everybody decides we're going here, what are Koreans going?
Exactly.
That part. Everybody here know what to do. We just don't do it.
I don't want to lengthen this whole discussion, but I do want to throw out there. One of the things about the Koreans though is, and the folks on the street call them Arabs, the Muslims and all that, the Hindus. There's a program, a governmental program where they could receive, and it started to release back, if they implement, at the time it was $750,000 or more into a dilapidated or a low income community. They could be, their immigration, their what you call it, will be sped up. And so that's why we see them, a plethora of them in our communities now.
You in Series
That
3.
number is bumped up to 1 million.
He's in Series 3. As you're talking, we ain't gonna do it all in one night. Series 3. Man, that's good, because guess what? That means y'all want to come back. You know what I mean? But we're gonna stay right here. We're gonna table that, put a pin in it, and that's great intel. But again, you know, also with the business plan, what we want to do is we want to look at our competitors. You can learn a lot from your competitors. You follow me? Look at your competitors and not only look at what they do successfully, look at what their blind spots are. Look at their weaknesses. You know, how many times you go in there and say, man, if they only able to do that, well, guess what? It's your business. You go do it. You know what I mean? Don't criticize what they ain't doing. If you're a competitor to this, I wouldn't even tell them they're doing it wrong. I'm gonna go in and fix it. And I'm gonna tell you, one of the biggest things right now that businesses are failing, and if you implement this right now in your business, hey, now, study has shown that you will go by 25% revenue, revenue likability. You know what it is? And it's free. This is free.
Easy.
You know what it is? Anybody? Customer service.
Good customer service.
Customer service. Customer service. Please, thank you. Have a nice day. Boy, where'd that go? Where did that go? You follow me? My grandma used to say, being nice and showing love don't cost you a thing. It's free. You follow me? And one thing we, especially amongst ourselves, we don't say please, thank you, da-da-da. And to the point when you do, you kind of like, look, you're shocked. You know what I mean? Customer service. Bring customer service back into the forefront of your business. You know what I mean? Real talk. That right there, because again, right now, studies have shown people sometimes forget what you say. People sometimes forget what you do. But people never forget how you made them feel.
I'll give you an example of that. My daughter bought something for me through Etsy, not too long ago. We received it, it was broken. So she bought it for me for Father's Day, so now she's in a panic. She reaches out back to the lady that she bought it from and said, hey, you know, I bought this for my dad, it's broken. Her response back, well, it wasn't broken when I sent it to you. So what she didn't realize is that, you know, my daughter knows a lot of people, I know a lot of people. It was a product that a lot of us could have used had she just handled it the right way, which was easy for her, right? You just send one more out and have us send that one back if you want us to, and it's all good. But the response and the vibe in which it was given was, we want to buy anything else from it.
That part.
Yeah.
You know,
So,
and lastly, with your business plan, what you want to do, but write it down. You want to have your financial projections. Be realistic, you know, because again, like I said, don't talk about what, especially if somebody else is in the business that you're getting in, don't go off of their financial projections. Get your own, understand. And then what you want to do with your financial projections, you want to make sure that you have something called miscellaneous costs. these are costs that you know what, you don't even know they're gonna happen yet. You know, because again, they may say, hey, you know what, all you need is this right here to do this right here, but then you didn't know, shoot, I need money to turn on the gas. I need money to come in and take all the trash out. I need money in, but you put all your money in this, you didn't have enough money for the miscellaneous items, you know? So theoretically, and again, with your financial projection, depending upon what business that it is, you want to at least have at least 3 to 6 months of sustainability, you know? Because again, by having 3 to 6 months of sustainability, that means that, you know what, if not one person come in this door, you know, we're able to take care of all the things that we need to keep us afloat, you know, and that's part of your financial projections. That all makes sense? So these are things that are almost inevitable. All right, so basically the next one, how we doing so far? We doing good? All right, good deal. So the next one is going to be choose your business structure. All right, so what this is now this is your legal structure. A lot of people are like, okay, do I do an LLC? Do I do an incorporation? If I do an incorporation, do I do an S Corp or C Corp? What is the difference with that? Do I go nonprofit? You know what I mean? And a lot of people, let me just kind of dispel the myth of nonprofits. Nonprofit, you can make money. You follow me? Matter of fact, this church is a nonprofit. You know, this church makes money. Anytime money exchanges hands, it's a business. So unless you want to, you know, let's be real, the church is a business. You know, it's just all about basically the structure. It goes about the taxations and how you pay your taxes. You know, now keep in mind, you want to make sure if you register yourself as a nonprofit, because a lot of people make this mistake. If you register yourself in the state of Georgia or whatever state that you register your business, there's a 2-part process. One, you could actually register as a nonprofit. Then what you need to do is you need to apply for your 501c3. The 501c3 is the status in which that's going to be able to allow the companies who donate to you receive the tax break. Make sure you have that, because I know a lot of folks who have actually created a nonprofit, didn't have the 501c3, got the donations, and guess what? That's a big tax bill coming back to you.
It's revenue.
Because it's revenue, and now they can't write it off, so they're gonna charge it back to you, and you don't want that bill. You know what I mean? So imagine you get $100,000 and you think you good. You don't spend $100,000, but the taxation come back and you owe $40,000 of that tax. It's not a good look. You know what I mean? I don't think you're really ready for those miscellaneous expenses. So with that, what you want to do is you want to actually look at it from the standpoint of, you know, do I want to go sole proprietor? That's meaning that, hey, you know what? I'm just gonna be my own provider for my own business. Yeah, I'm gonna take care of my own taxes, things of that nature. Almost like a contractor, if you will. You know, 1099. You know, if you want to go LLC, obviously, like I said, you have incorporations, and then of course, you know, the S Corp and C Corps are different upon the type of employees that you have. You know what I mean? So what you want to do is when you have your business plan and you have that, now think about the structure that you want to have with that, you know, because that's going to be very important, right? And you want to know that before you apply with the state of Georgia, or we're in Georgia now, or whatever state that you actually put it in, okay? So that's very important. Now, once you have that in place, now you want to register the business, you know, and that's when you go to the Secretary of State. And then basically what they're going to do is first, and before you're going to register, you have to first reserve the name. You gotta first reserve the name. You think you're the only name that's talking about junk and bunk moving company. There may be 50 junk and bunks moving companies out there. You'd be surprised, you know. So what happens is that they're going to give you one choice of what it is that you want, and they're going to give you 2 other choices in the event that that name is not available. So you want to do anything that you can to go as close to the original name as possible, right? Now, do not just put one choice in there, because that's it could be 30 days, and if they reject you, that's another 30 days. You feel me? No, put those other ones in there as close as possible. And then here's the thing too. You could put, you know, bump and jump, you know, trampoline LLC. And then you got one as Inc. Those are 2 different companies. Those are 2 different EINs, you know? So again, you want to make sure that you actually do that. Now, once you actually go in and you put the,
You have a question.
You had a question?
Yeah, just a quick question. How does it work to where you could have, let's say you have a hair salon, it's called Cut Above,
Mm-hmm.
and you got it here in Atlanta. Then you slip over to Alabama and they got a cut above. Then you go to New York, they got a cut above. How does that work? Is that?
Man, he taking us in the series. That's series number 5. That's franchise. That's franchise. No. Okay, so theoretically, it's several ways you can do that. Like with me, I have barbershops. So you just say barbershops, I can tell you. My barbershops is called Total Package Barbershop. I actually had it registered. We started established in 2010. Not only did I have it established, I actually got it copyright and trademark. Right? I did the national and I did the world, because again, that's our thing. You know, why not get it? In fact, it's best to have it and not need it, and need it and not have it. Once we did that, we were able to solidify the entire state of Georgia. But what I did was I created a franchise. And with the franchise, what it allows you to do is total package franchise, whatever, even though there's a cut above, I could bring a, let's say, even though it was a total package in Alabama, I'm coming as total package barbershop franchise, which means that now I could cut the franchise and still use total package in that state. And now I have my trademark that is actually going from state to state, because I got a national trademark, not just here in the state of Georgia. See, he's taking me on a whole nother level, but again, yes.
Well, we're not going to like GoDaddy and Wix and change and check for domains.
Well, that's different.
It's the same.
That's totally different.
The name. I'm
No,
saying
no,
like your name.
Well, no, here's the
Not
thing.
business name, but I'm saying like
The URL, the website is different. The URL is different. You know what I mean? Because you may not be able to get you may be able to get the name, but you may not be able to get the URL. You follow me? Somebody else may own it, and again,
a lot of money.
and a lot of people will go out and buy those things up so they can sell them.
Right.
So again, what you may want to do is, when you're looking at, URLs, and I actually have that on here as well, you want to look at something as close that actually gives them a description of your business without it probably being your name of your business, right? But those are good questions. But did I kind of answer your question?
Yeah, and if you do franchise yours, is the other one that was before yours, is that already grandfathered in? So
well, it's all about the paperwork. It's all about how the attorneys write it in. What I did was I owned them all individually, but then I put them under the franchise. Then when I sold them, I just sold the rights to the operations, but now they're still under the franchise. So instead of me actually getting money from barbers, I get money from owners.
But like, for example, if I had a cut above, right, and the guy had in Alabama, I now go and create the cut above franchise. It's all of a sudden he has to give up his name?
No. He's a separate entity. See, here's the thing. If he's a cut above that's already there, there's a cut above, and again, it'll be LLC, or it could be a cut above, it could be a cut above Inc. What you're just trying to do is be able to use the name legally in that state. You know what I mean? Without having to register in that state, because chances are you're going to get rejected if you're saying you're a cut above barbershop. You know what I mean? So theoretically, what that does, the franchise, depending upon how you actually have it registered, would allow you to go state. Now, keep in mind, it's a pretty penny to do it, but I didn't want it to be limited to anything that I actually would want to have. So his would not be a part of your franchise. Yours would be the cut above barbershop franchise. Then you would just be able to establish it there and then drop the franchise and still use the cut above. It's going to be a different logo, different color, the whole nine. And if you better than him, then guess what? They ain't gonna bring it as your cut above versus either. Go and find out what he ain't doing and be better than them.
Okay.
Remember that? Told you that? Look at your competitors, right? All right. So are we good with the registry? We understand that, again, you're gonna have to do the name registration first. And then of course, once now in 30 days, I think the name registration here in the state of Georgia is like $25. Not that much.
It is.
Somewhere there. Now, once you reserve the name in 30 days, they're going to say, okay, boom, you have the name. This is your name for 30 days. My advice, go get it as soon as you can. You're right. And then basically from there, by this time, you should already have what? You should already know what you're going to be, what? The LLC or incorporation. Because then once they give you that name, you got to put it in. And then they're going to say, okay, what are you? LLC, nonprofit, all of those things. You want to be able to do that right there. You don't want to be like, oh, I think about it. You think long, you think wrong. Somebody else gonna get that name, you know, because you're not the only one that's trying to eat and do this thing, you know, so do not assume you're the only one. You follow me? So you got to actually operate like, you know what, they coming and I'm gonna beat them to the finish line. That's how it has to go. So that's where we are with that. Now, after we go with the registration of the business, now it's time to set up the finances. All right, so now you got the business. Now again, once you pay for it, about $125 to get the registration. Ain't nothing like getting that seal of approval. You got that articles of incorporation. Article of incorporation is basically your birth certificate of your business. You got a business, you know, and with the articles of incorporation is going to come an EIN number. EIN number is simply the social security number of a business, you know, and so that is basically your business. And you'll get a DUNS number where you get an opportunity to get a DUNS number. And that right there just kind of helps you be able to do business in certain areas, especially in federal government, stuff like that, depending on how you set your business up. So once you have that, now it's time to get the finances in order. You know, the only way that you cannot, and when I say get the finances in order, that's not going to get your bank account. You know what I mean? It's not so much having the finances, but you know, if you have the finances, now you want to do everything out of your bank account. Because at this point right now, anything that profits, loss, any checks you write should come out of your business. You follow me? Everything should come out of your business because this is what you're gonna be able to write off. You know what I mean? They need to be able to say, you're an established business, I have revenue, I'm writing checks, you know, and then basically I would say this too. Now, with the finances of the business, you know, within, I want to say, depends on which bank you go to. I think Wells Fargo, they could do it within, you know, 30 days after you do the account. Now they're looking at, you know, give you business credit, you know, and that goes off of, now with that being said, they're going to look at your personal score, you know what I mean? Because again, you just started. So they got to have almost like co-signing for yourself. You know what I mean? That way now you can actually get, you know, like a business credit card and things of that nature. One of the best way to build business credit, I'm going to tell you guys, I did it, it works. I paid my mortgage with my card, send them the check the next day. Pay my car note with the card, send them a check the next day. When they see that card got swiped, that's a credit charge. But then when they see by the time that credit thing come through and it's already been paid on, oh, you're getting them points. You know, I went from like a 730 to an 820 credit score. They was giving me stuff, you know what I mean? Because again, like I said, you know, that's your business. And on top of that, gas, groceries. You're gonna do those things anyway. Let your business do. You know what I mean? And then I do know that several, and we'll talk about this later because there's several ways if you got a little kid, get them a business too. We'll talk about that later. I wish I knew this. I got 3 kids. I said, man, you telling me what? You know what I mean? By the time we'll talk about it later. I want to go down that road. You see what he done did? Got me going down to Series 3. You know? But again, like I said, what you want to do, you want to actually, you know, and again, your bank account, you want to definitely obtain that credit card. The credit card, again, oh, you got a question?
Yeah, since you talked about like credit and all that good stuff, if you were trying to like run your business out of your home, are you gonna get to that like later series?
Oh, it doesn't matter like where your business is.
Could you write off like if you're gonna have like a different
Absolutely. In fact, you should do that.
Yes.
You know, look, you know what? I write off cable. I write off not cable, internet. Absolutely. You're using it as a business.
Utilities.
Absolutely. You know what I mean? It's a home office.
Anything it takes to run that.
You know?
So you just need like the square footage of, I guess.
Of a space in which you're looking at, you know, obviously, you know, you can't write up your rent, you know, your mortgage. Everybody black in here, you know, we'll try, you know. But again, you know, no, that's a good question. And yes, you can, you know, if you're traveling, listen, if you're eating, people like, man, listen, my boy's like, man, you're so generous. No, I get that bill. I'm gonna get that bill too. I'm $400. I'm right there's all this entertainment. I'm balling, you know what I mean? I'm paying for everything because I'm writing that off and I'm getting it back. So I need to have these write-offs. You know what I mean? So you want to do that. You want to do that. I promise you guys, you know, you'll be like, literally, I know several folks right now whose houses and cars are in their business. You feel me? And we'll talk about this later, but in the event that they lose that business, bankrupt, guess what? The business got bankrupt, not you.
Right.
We'll talk about this later.
Yeah.
Y'all coming back, right? I know, yeah.
Are there any banks in particular that are good for small business? Like my 501c3, I use that with Chase.
Okay.
And my research has shown that Wells Fargo is good.
Wells
for small
Fargo's
banks.
Wells
And then Bank
best.
of America has more brick and mortar, so.
Yeah, Wells Fargo is definitely going to be the best, I would say, for starting out. Now, when you start getting into when you start getting into more like employee type stuff, you want to probably go to more of a stronger national brand like a Bank of America, because they give you more options, from that standpoint. It's all about the options. But Wells does a really good job, especially from the digital side. Yes.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I use Fred to the King's special for job there, but I was in North Carolina, because they don't have fees.
Yeah.
And most banks have fees for small businesses.
Well, I mean, depending upon what account you get also too. It's all about your volume too. So when you get in there, you're gonna look at your volume. You know what I mean? I would say start small. Because again, what they try to do is the more you get, the more you're locked in.
Yeah.
You want to be able to test it. You know what I mean? And like, well, shoot, I'm over my 25. You got 25, you realize, okay, I'm doing like 40. Let me put it to 50. Because now I'm not quite at 50 yet, but I know that's kind of coming. So you kind of just measure it. I saw a lot of people get themselves in the fees because they don't know. And they get locked in because these people right now making commission on whatever account they could get you. You follow me? So that's a good question. But you want to make sure that you set up the right account, with the finances from that standpoint. I would say that you probably want to make sure that you have a good CPA and a good bookkeeping system. You want to be able to track it. Everything is digital now. You know what I mean? That paper, let's be done with that. Get you a digital platform that where, all of your expenses are based right there. So all you got to do is send it. And you have all of your expenditures, right there at your disposal. And then again, you probably want to get it digital as well on your mobile device. Yeah.
And then for like you were saying, traveling, restaurants and all that, for the right, how long do you need to keep those receipts for?
Oh, until it's annual.
Okay.
Well,
Exactly.
she means like, you mean how many years for tax purposes?
Right.
Well, I mean, it's yours. I would,
Yeah.
you know what? I would keep it. It's best to have it and not need it, and need it and not have it. And as many times that, yeah.
I think it's 5 to 7 days.
It's 5 to 7.
Yeah.
You know what? Like I said, I've kept mine. Well, I got stuff from back in 2013. And you know what? Also, too, you know what? Because we were actually moving. My wife was like, "Boy, I say, look, look. We seen, because again, there was those breadcrumbs. We didn't do this then. We did this. So sometimes, it's good to go back to the original. So that's what happened in that regard. You had a question?
No, I was just gonna say that now that everything's digital, we just, we can copy it and put it into a digital folder.
Oh, absolutely.
All that
Everything
paper.
you want is digital. Remember those old days and coming in there? Do that. Don't do that. You ain't gonna take your business. You ain't gonna take your business.
But organize that digital folder. Just slap stuff into it.
And you gotta
So you
keep
know how
up
to
with
find
it.
it.
You got to keep up with it. We're doing good on time. Okay.
Yeah, you got,
All right. So the next thing we want to do, all right, we're doing pretty good so far, guys. All right, the next thing we want to do, now we want to build our team. We want to build our team. All right, now, I'm gonna give you a warning. Please take heed to this warning. Ignorance is a form of not knowing. So after I tell you this, you can no longer say you didn't know. And y'all at home as well. 2 people that I personally will stay away from hiring. 2 people that I will personally stay away from hiring is family and close friends. I promise you're gonna thank me later. I promise you. 2 people I would not look to hire because, again, if they family, y'all gonna fall out. And if they close friends, you won't be long. You follow what I'm telling you? Those are, listen, trust me. I'm just being 100 with you. We good from the Mercer family, right? I'm telling you the truth. Family and friends, that doesn't mix. Absolutely not. Man, listen, my mama, man, so I have several businesses, man. And my mom, and by the grace of God, they've been, by the grace of God, they've been successful. But my mom, she wanted to work in one of them. And she was at her house, she was up in Atlanta. I'm born and raised in South Florida, for those that know. So, she came up and she was hearing my mom, my wife, and my sister-in-law talking, because my sister-in-law actually, the thing about it, wife is by default, but my sister-in-law actually helped out on this particular thing. So mama heard it. And so anyway, she was like, well, I want to work, da, da, da. And I said, Mom, I'm not going to hire you. And she thought I was joking, And I said, Mom, because what happens when you don't work out? How do you fire your mama? You know what I mean? And you don't want to be compromised like that. You don't, because again, uncle, I used to take you to football practice. You would never be where you at if I ain't take you. You never got that scholarship. Everybody gonna remind you what they did for you. And again, I promise you, this is real, man. For those that do work and God bless them. But I can tell you right now, you ask anybody, they gonna find more friends and family than anybody else. Because it's not them, you're giving them a chance. It's them taking advantage of the chance you gave. You follow me? And again, like I said, everybody who say they with you ain't with you. You find that out too. Grandma always told me you can deny a lie, ain't deny the truth. So you already know. So basically what I would say is, depending on the size of your complexity of your business, you're gonna need to hire. Sometimes you won't, I personally, depending upon what type of business you're in that require staff, I would probably go after a contractor first. All right. Contractors, guess what? They pay their own taxes. Remember that sole proprietor I was telling you about? They pay their own taxes. They only work for the hours that you guys agree upon. Contractors, and it's basically for the time duration of the project or the event or whatever it is. And when it's done, it's done. You hire employees, you hire them. That means you're on the hook for everything. And a lot of times right now, especially in this term, since COVID, they're requiring small businesses to have medical insurance. They're requiring you to have medical insurance, So this is something that you guys, want to look out for. And again, you want to make sure that you have projections for those staffs, because I've done it and I have it. And you want to make sure that you have at least now 6 months to a year. If you don't make $1, can you maintain this staff? You follow me? Can you maintain the staff, your lifestyle, and the business as well? That's a big burden. That's a huge burden. And ain't nothing worse than you have to let people go. You follow me? So basically, be mindful how you bring them in, right? So that is for that particular case there. And again, like I said, if you are going to bring in full-time people, understand your labor laws, understand your regulations. You have to know it, because guess what? The government don't care about your ignorance. They do not want to know what you didn't know. You follow me?
To your point, they're different state to state.
Oh, absolutely. They're different state to state. What work here in Georgia will not work in Florida. Trust me. And I would say, one of the last things I would touch upon, now that you have those things already in place, it's time to launch. It's go time. It's time to launch your business. So once you complete all the necessary steps, it's time to launch the business. Now, what does that mean? Social media. We talked about the URLs. Now you're going to go ahead and get your websites in place. You want to get your social medias in place. You want to, identify, what particular source of resources that actually go after targeting those particular areas within your business. Are there companies that you could actually hire to actually promote? You can go to old school flyers. It's a waste of time, waste of money. Ain't nobody want that. Nobody want that. Matter of fact, you see more on the car than anything. So what you want to do, like I said, a lot of companies are going to QR codes. That's the way you want to be able to get the information right then and there. Again, this is very critical, and you want to know where you're going, because once you have all these things down, now the clock is ticking. You know what I mean? So you should be ready to go at this particular point. Having like different campaigns, ad campaigns, where it's constantly pushing your stuff out there to your target market. Find the influencers that are in the spaces in which you actually are in as well. So there's a lot of people, because people buy from people that buy from people, people that they know. So find the influencers that are in the space in which you actually are going after or targeting. Get close with your competitors, who they use. You know what I mean? Because they already established. So, ain't no use of recreating the wheel. You know what I mean? You know, so again, those are some of the 10 points that we feel as though will be able to help you get started, you know, from pretty much, you know, start to finish, of at least getting started with the business, you know. Now, how do we do? We did all right? All right. Now, we got any questions on, okay, I knew he was coming.
I did have,
Why did you guys create this church?
You want to get that, Cecil?
Yes, I wanna ask, what made you come up to this idea?
Talking about business.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Go ahead.
I never heard of, in all this, so I never heard of, reaching out to or seeking a business, I don't know, advisor or,
Well, I would probably say,
kind of like a coach, whatever.
I mean, you know, and what I did, you know, I didn't say a business advisor or business coach. I mean, again, I think that is kind of like, you know, if that is something that's readily available for you. I would probably say, now, again, that's a good question. No, I didn't say it. I didn't think it was like essential if you didn't have it that you couldn't do it. You follow me? So I didn't bring that up. But again, I would say, like with me, having advisors outside of your business is very important. You know, one of my businesses is digital tutoring. Basically, is like Uber for tutors. You know, we had $180 million evaluation. You know, right before COVID. Now we're coming back to that because that's $180 million valuation, right? I'm 100% shareholder in it. But I had a board of directors, once they saw the $180 million valuation, they literally came right at my neck trying to bait me out of my own company. I didn't know a lot of things because, again, I wasn't the smartest guy in the room. I brought these guys, but I was the smartest guy in the room because I recognized I wasn't the smartest guy in the room. So I went and got two things on smart people, you know, that understood shares and EBITDA and all of that more than me. So now they're trying to take me out of my company. But the beauty of what I did, I had an advisory board that they didn't know about. So the stuff that they were talking about in the board, and I'm the only black owner, and that's my company. And the stuff that they're writing, I'm writing it down. So we'll have a board meeting on this week. The very next week, we got an advisory board meeting. They're educating me on all the stuff that I didn't know in the meeting. So the very next month, when we come in and vote on this stuff, I'm educated on it, you know? And then now I was understanding what they were actually doing. So then what they did, you know, there's common shares, and it was off subject, but just kind of let you know, I didn't know the difference between common shares versus preferred shares, you know, because they were liquidating my company out of my common shares. I had no clue because I had common shares too. Nah, man. Mark Zuckerberg owns 11% of Facebook. Bezos owns 9% of Amazon. But how are they still the CEO? Because they didn't have common shares, they had preferred shares. Common shares is 1-to-1, which means that, okay, for every one share, you get one vote. Preferred shares is 1-to-5. So Zuckerberg is not 11%, he's 55% because he's got 1-to-5. Guess what? They didn't know that God was on my side. I got the right information. And then when they wanted to go ahead and do a new agreement, I decided to do it, but I had the attorney put preferred on mine and common on theirs. And then when they realized that they signed it and they got duped by this person from South Florida that didn't know what they were doing, guess what? They all quit. Now I got 100% of the shares. So that goes to the advisory, you know, piece from that aspect right there.
The reason I ask is because I've seen and I've also read that for years, people will say, "Oh man, he cooks so well. Oh, you should open up your own restaurant." And one of the number one businesses to collapse,
I think it's 78% now, right?
Yeah,
78% failure rate,
yeah.
even if it's franchised.
Yeah.
Even
it's
if,
not because they're not good cooks. It's a business. It's not an art.
But did you hear what I said?
Yeah.
I'm sure me and Pastor Kern talked about this. God told a lot of people to actually get into ministry. And he told a lot of people to actually, you know, become ministers. He ain't telling them to open their own church. So you kind of see where some churches are moderately filled, and then some churches overflow. You follow me? See, again, he said be a minister, but you could be the minister of youth. Or you could be a minister of business. You could be a minister of, he didn't say open up a church. You cook good chicken, he didn't say open up a restaurant. You know what I mean? So again, you got to know your lane. You gotta know your lane, because again, you're doing it because that's something that you do, but that ain't who you are. You follow me? That business needs to be a reflection of you. When people see you, they need to see your business. You follow me? Your business is your brand. And you're never, when you're on a business, you're never off. You're never off. Trust me. You know what I mean? Your business is your brand. Your business is you. You know, so you are never off. 9 to 5s, nah, it is not a business. After he'll tell you, the average time I go to bed every night is 2 in the morning. Every night.
That's early.
I wake up at 9 every day. Guess what? God gives you 24 hours. What you decide to do with them is on you. You feel me? He knows. Last year I had 5 contracts: Moderna, Amazon, Business Wire, IBM, and Weather Channel. And our company was the top company in all 5. Because when they were sleeping, we were working. You follow me? And then we were able to deliver what other people wouldn't. So you got to be willing to do what everybody else not willing to do. You follow me? To actually get ahead. And again, you control that. You control that. Do you want to sleep or do you want to get this thing? You control it. You know what I mean? You control how you live. Nothing can stop you. Nothing. Trust me, nothing. If God has given you the vision to do this, and you know this is God, matter of fact, you know, I can tell you nothing can stop you. Philippians 4:13 say you can't. You can do all things through Christ. All. He ain't say some. He ain't say most. All. You follow me? And don't listen to Day. And they said you trying to do. You ever notice Day last name? Is it Day Williams? Day Jones? Because they sure talk a lot, don't he? Y'all know Day. Where you from, dog? Where you from? Where you from?
Originally?
Yeah.
South Carolina.
South Carolina. Where you from?
Mississippi.
Mississippi. Where you from?
Los Angeles.
Los Angeles. Where you from?
Arkansas.
I'm from South Florida. They be everywhere. They everywhere, ain't it? You know what I mean? Don't listen to Day. Don't listen to Day. You know? Day is literally trying to stop you from doing what God has put inside of you. You follow what I'm saying? So that is real, guys. That is real. The person that says he can and the person that says he can't are both right. You know, so if this is a business in which you actually are looking to do, and I know it's burning inside of you, the only difference between doing it and not doing it, y'all know the difference? Doing it. That's it. You got a question?
So just real quick before we get too far away from it, but you have a lot of people out here call themselves life coaches, business coaches, and career coaches. What did that advisory board cost you?
Nothing. Nothing. It was free. And what I did, I identified 5 people who had no care about the business. So I know they weren't biased. I know they didn't care. Like they were just, but they were subject matter experts in their space. I had a legal person, I had a marketing person, I had an IT person, you know, I had an entrepreneur, like another business person, something I could back off of, and I had some guy who was just, you know, within the because it was a tutoring company, some within the academic space. You know what I mean? That could open doors for us if we need it. Didn't cost anything, you know. And we met once a month, and I met the week after the board meeting. So I take the notes like I'm the smartest thing in there, and I'm just writing it down. Well, y'all just don't know who you messing with. Yo, go ahead.
Was that relationship or like, how did you go about assembling an advisory board that didn't cost you a thing?
Partially relationship, you know, because again, you know, you find a bean, you're gonna get the whole burrito. So you find the person that's the influencer of the group, they're gonna find other people that like them, and they're gonna. So again, it was more or less in a sense, and I think I wanted that because I wanted true advice. I didn't want anyone to give me something that they ain't want to hurt my feelings. They didn't care if they hurt my feelings, boy, they did hurt my feelings. Like, you know what I mean? But what it did, it made me stronger, you know? So I needed people that was going to hold me accountable. I know I needed people that was going to tell me the truth, you know? So what I did, I identified 2 people that I knew, and they brought the other 3. You know what I mean? And I think, again, like I said, those individuals, they hang with each other, you know, and they know each other. And I want to say we had 3 females and 2 guys on that advisory board. Yes.
I don't know if you're gonna get into this either, but as far as like taxes, if you're a service-based business, do you have to pay taxes? Since I read somewhere that you don't, and I guess it's dependent.
Trust me, you in America, you in the United States of America. Well, pay your taxes, you get the refund later.
Like, right?
Mhm.
Like, obviously, the price and they're gonna take their taxes and that stuff, but if I did like.
Well, tip the Eventbrite don't take taxes, they take fees. They take their fees.
On my side, right? I need to include, cause I thought it was only if you were like selling clothing or something.
You're
like
talking
that.
sales
Sales
tax?
tax.
Sales
tax.
Oh,
not
sales tax, but you're gonna.
No, you're gonna have to pay your, no, you're talking about sales, that's a different tax.
Yes.
Your tax, when you make your money,
That's the thing.
you're gonna have to pay on that.
What type
Follow
of
me?
services are you offering?
I'm a model, so it's like.
Okay,
With this, yeah.
gotcha.
And make sure too that there is no product that you're selling.
Right.
Cause if you're selling a product or whatever, let's say suppose that, I don't know what it may be based on what you're doing, but if there's any product at all.
Sales tax. comes into play.
Yes.
Just services, right?
Oh, yeah, services right now, but also too, you know what I would say with your business, especially with the business that you guys are starting, or even the business that you already have started, create separate verticals. Create separate verticals. So what I mean by that, yeah, put that in there, create separate verticals. So for instance, like, okay, a vertical is, okay, we selling hamburgers, but we also sell fries. We also sell salad. We also sell chicken sandwiches. We also sell, ice cream. You want to have different verticals because there's something called a point of sale. Somebody's going to want an ice cream, and guess what? You don't have it, they're going to go to Dairy Queen. But if you provide it, another vertical of your service, it's another extension of your service. So if you sell, you sell tennis shoes, sell some socks, sell some, some nice laces, sell some stuff to clean the shoes. Because guess what? They're going to get those services anyway. You follow me? So you might as well be able to establish what those verticals are. I know we got a lot to cover over the series of this. I think we're coming right at time. Hopefully you guys found this enlightening. Yeah, the question.
So you actually have.
Oh, we do? Oh, we do? Okay. Go ahead.
I got one more there. I don't know how to describe this, but this weekend I was doing choir. We were doing choir right, and after Sunday afterwards, in between, I walked up there, and I was like, I need to get a drink. I cut through the woods and came to a food mart. It's right off the street next to the little dog place. And I walked in, and I was the only customer. The Indian guy was there. He was real nice. Said, "Tell all your friends to come to my food mart." I said, "Okay." Walked out and I went back. But I realized, I was like, how would you put a food mart here when there's 2 steps up, there's a gas station there. Across the street, there's a gas station with a food mart. And then across the street is Publix, with food. It's a bad location.
Well, I think in this case right here, me knowing the area, that food mart was there before those other things. And a lot of those, which we're talking about, the one that's right here. Is it?
Is it in the shopping plaza or the small plaza?
Yeah, right next to the dog.
One of the parking lots, the one we used to own.
Yeah.
Meat market further up. If you go a step up, I think it used to be a beauty salon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's only been there 51.
Well, I mean, here's the thing, again, like I said, every business, that may be something where they may say, why is he selling shoes? You know what I mean? Again, here's the thing. If you got the business plan, if you meet the criteria, they're going to sell you the space. You know what I mean? That's real estate. So who's winning? He may not be, but the person who's actually paying that rent to is. You feel me? So that's business too. So he winning,
Or could it be right on?
You also have a buyer who don't particularly, like, I don't like to go to Walmart.
Mm-hmm.
It's too big, no one never knows anything. And when I go to Kroger's, I see familiar faces. The lady almost knew my name.
Yeah.
So that personal relationship, people like that. And then if you're talking to an Indian person, like I'm a barber and I have clients, they like this, just like other clients, they like to go to pharmacies that are independent owned.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's more personal. And they have a lot of the nostalgic, older stuff like McCarrick.
Yeah, got it.
You can't find McCarrick at Walmart.
Got it.
Okay, hey man, you know what the McCarrick on? You like, man, I don't get on the radio.
Talk to him. Exactly.
Your clientele base.
And here's the thing. Check this out. You the only one in there. You didn't see it when it was full. I think in this case right here, you got to understand, like, businesses, to your point, and I'm glad you brought that up. There's no one rule to a particular business. You know what I mean? And how you operate a business. You know, the brick and mortar, that is something that is taking a hit during COVID. It's phasing out to a degree, you know what I mean? But here's the thing, some people in certain areas, you know, that if they lose that brick and mortar, that whole community loses out on a certain thing, you know? So again, it just all depends.
It's about knowing your demographics too, knowing the to his point earlier, know the demographics that you are serving. And are you in the right community? And apparently, hoping before he opened that store, he did some research and found out there's a lot of people in this area that don't like going to a Walmart, that may not even want to go to a Publix. Just want to stop and grab something quick like you did. And maybe he feels like he's in the right location to do that. That's really something you have to ask that individual business on. What made you move to what made you pick this location?
That gas station was 2 doors down with a food mart in it, and across the street is a gas station with a food mart that says food mart.
You know what's crazy that you say that, because I seen over in Cobb, I would tell you this, I seen in Cobb County, right there between Guinness Ferry, there's a Blimpies and a Subway right across the street, and they both filled.
Well, Burger King, McDonald's, all the time.
Wendy's,
Racetrack,
again,
all the time.
like I said, there's options and everybody wants it, you know? So again, and here's the thing, that right there alone shows you that, you know, if this is something that you're passionate about, you're gonna make it work.
Right.
You know what I mean? You wanna have this thing as bad as you want to be. If you got a business that you have and you have it, you wanna make this thing more as successful as bad as you wanna breathe, there you go. You know, literally, and that's everything in which that's how I approach everything. You know what I mean? Like this right here, because what I do, I identify the risk. Every business is gonna have a risk. When you go to a job, that's a risk. You know what I mean? There's more entrepreneurs in the last 3 years than anywhere in the United States in history. Because right now, COVID literally was everything was a hamster wheel. Go to school, you go to high school, you graduate, you go to college, you graduate, you go get a job, and you get on the hamster wheel. You pay your bills, you get married, you have kids, you go to college, it's the hamster wheel. That wheel stopped. And really, people realize they need all this money. Why am I working this hard for? You know, I don't really like y'all. You know what I mean? I'm driving too far. You know what I mean? People start realizing the prices of stuff. And then they were like, well, shoot, you know what? I can do this myself. More entrepreneurs started in the last 3 years than any time in this country, you know? And so theoretically right now, and guess what? A lot of our kids and some of y'all grandkids, oh, they ain't doing this. They all business owners. You know what I mean? They all
They don't even connect. They don't even connect with the process.
They don't, matter of fact, and that's right now, businesses right now are suffering. That's why you're seeing a decline of a lot of businesses starting to close because of the mindset of the next generation. These guys are coming in because we made it too easy for them. So now they realize that, you know what, this is the everybody get a trophy age. You know what I mean? So I'm supposed to get this, you know? And so from that standpoint, go ahead, bro.
Just a question. So what would be your, should I say, advice to, because a lot of times with Christians, so to speak, church folks, let's say, and a lot of times we have the mindset, oh, well, the Lord, told me, I believe the Lord told me to get into this business, so I'm blessed and highly favored, and they don't think that now it requires them getting skills at what they do. But what's your response to that kind of an attitude?
Well, I mean, right here, have you asked God for guidance? You follow me? Because here's the thing: if you truly ask God, everybody here knows when they heard from God. You should, for that most part. Everybody knows when God done told them not to do something. You know what I mean? But we test it and try to see. I think honestly, when God, again, I do know this because I can only go off of my experience. God will give you, it's things that I ask God and He does it every time. God, bring me the people, bring me the resources that I need to fulfill this mission. If this is your will for me, bring it. But God, one thing we do, we ask that prayer and we let it be done. Now, it's the second part of that prayer. God, remove anyone who does not to be a part of this journey. Yeah. Because everybody who came last time, she ain't gonna be coming this time. Yeah. It ain't the same ride. You follow me? And that's sometimes what Christians we do. We try to save everybody. You follow me? And that ain't that. We make a lot of mistakes with that because we had success with this. This is not that. You follow me? And that you can see you can see that everybody, the disciples didn't go everywhere. They didn't do it. They had different assignments. You know what I mean? They had access to them, but they had different assignments. So in that regard right there, hopefully that answers your question, you know, because again, that's one of the things that I do. I make sure that, you know what, I'm aligned. And on top of that, you guys, you gotta be, it's timing. Yes, he said he's gonna give you the business, but it's timing. Because you're seeing everybody else doing it. And now you're like, they beat me. No, because where you're going is gonna be further than that. But yet you done open up the oven, now the cake can drop. It's timing. You follow me? You gotta be patient. You gotta be patient. I asked him for that. Listen, one of my barbers, or one of my employees, not my barbers, one time he asked me, he said, man, I want to be like you. I said, man, you'll never be like me. He got offended. And I said, he's like, why you say that? I said, because you think too small. I said, you think too small. I said, your prayers sound like this. God, I wish I had enough money for gas. He started laughing because he said, yeah, he did. I said, my prayers sound like this. God, I wish I had enough money for gas stations. I said, you know what happened? He said, what? I said, he answered both our prayers. If you don't ask him, why you gonna expect it? You follow me? Ask God. He again, and he's gonna direct your path. He's going to direct your path. He's gonna direct your journey. Now I'm gonna tell you guys, it's not gonna be easy. It's not gonna be easy. But I promise you, if it's of God, it's gonna be worth it. And a lot of things you're gonna go through in business is not for you. It's for the next person you're gonna give that advice to. You follow what I mean? Everybody in here right now, I promise you, we could do a Fortune 500 company right now. Trust me, because I sit with the leaders in the top business in the nation, in the world. And I know they don't let all of us in there, but they don't let me in there. And I know how it happens. But what happens is when we get that knowledge, we try to hold it to ourselves. Oh, yeah. And I kid you not, and we are the product. We are the product. If we came together right in this room right now, this is multi-million-dollar right here. I promise you that. If we came together right now, because we come up with a product, we got people that know how to sell the product, we got people that know how to build the product, we got people that know how to promote the product, you know what I mean? We have people that know how to support the product. And we all come in, but guess what? Everybody want to worry about who's gonna drive the Mercedes. I tell you what, I'm gonna drive the Mercedes. But I'll tell you this, I got 30 keys. We all gonna ride. You follow me? So again, guys, we gotta get to a point where I'm gonna close on this. We gotta actually get to a point where we are creating that ambiguous image. An ambiguous image is when y'all see crabs in the bucket, what do you think? Crabs in the bucket, somebody.
They don't stop that from getting out.
There you go, hold them down, right? All right. Ambiguous image is seeing the same thing, but we have two different interpretations. Because when I see crabs in the bucket, I'm at the top of the bucket. I'm like, there go the water. Grab my claw. Now you grab her claw. Now you grab his claw. You grab that claw. And we all gonna get out. I saw the same thing. I just got a totally different interpretation. Change your mindset, guys. Change your mindset. Does that make sense? So that's all we got. I'm gonna pray us out. And I think we're gonna do another session of this, right? Y'all want another session?
Yeah.
All right. So make sure that we got your information. So that way when those sessions are available, we're gonna talk about all the other stuff he wanted to talk about. I have some more stuff when we talk about now that we got the business, how do we grow the business? How do we, support the landmines on what's gonna happen, some of the things, because again, I made so many mistakes, man. I lost more money than people don't made, and if you want, look, black people, if you want to get their attention, hit them in their pocket and they refrigerator. So again, hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Y'all enjoyed it. I enjoyed y'all.
Yeah.
All right, Father God, we just want to thank you for this opportunity, Father. Thank you for all the individuals that have actually joined us tonight and even online, Father. We ask that right now that you touch the businesses, you touch the ideas, you birth whatever is inside of them, Father God. Remove the fear.
Yes.
Remove the fear, Father God, because faith and fear cannot coexist. Remove the fear, Father God, and give them the confidence. Not only the confidence, Father God, give them the spirit of success, Father God. I pray that you touch their businesses. I pray that you touch their ideas. I pray that you touch their support staff. The people that they're going to have to lean on, whether it be husbands, wives, family members, Father God, not as a person of working with them, but Father God, giving them that support and that energy to continue to go forward, Father. We want to thank you for this business ministry. We want to thank you for this inauguration of us presenting this over to him, Father God. Thank you for allowing me to be obedient, to be a servant to you. Hopefully what I've been able to do, Father God, was pleasing to you, O Lord. We ask these and many other blessings in your name's sake. Amen.
Amen.
All right.
What's your name again? I'm sorry.
I'm Deacon Ronnie Battle. Okay. All right, so again, guys, y'all got your 4 things, right? Y'all got your 4 things, 4 questions. Answer those 4 questions. We're gonna basically tell you a lot about where you are with your business. Again, like I said, we're gonna be giving you guys some we're gonna be giving them more updates about more classes, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna send out, make sure we have your email, because we'll definitely be corresponding with everybody with email. Also, is anybody here part of the business ministry? Or have heard of the business ministry? We also have the band app. So the band app is how we also communicate. So I won't have it this year, but next Wednesday when you come in, I'll go ahead and have a QR code that you can scan. 1 to register your business if you do have one, and then 2 also you'll be able to scan and join the band app, that way you can receive communication.
And tell everybody about it, man. We're new. We're right here in your backyard.
Is everybody in here a business owner? Is everybody in here a business owner or in the process of starting their business?
One question I have, will you go over how to write a business plan?
Well, we can, absolutely. You know,